Facebook Live fans and life coaches and friends, parents, coaches of all kinds. It's great to be on this call. Thank you for dialing in. This week is video 2, and it's concentrated on the ability to know. So we're going to continue with the secrets on how to design the kind of life that you want. And today specifically, we're going to talk about this wonderful ability, this innate ability to know that we all have. And so we're going to look at people going all the way back to Socrates, Jesus of Nazareth, Leonardo da Vinci, William Shakespeare, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Alexander Graham Bell, and just a whole host of people that we studied to see, all of these people, if you look at it, really made massive changes to the future, positive future in which we're living today. And so, a couple of questions when I think about these people is, were they born with all these talents, or did they do specific things to make themselves into the great masters that they were? So based on all of our research, which is about over 30 years for this particular segment, guess what we found? That they were all born with this native intelligence, just like you and just like me. So they were all born with this native intelligence, but they did do certain things that caused them to be able to take their fields of study, their subjects, until that level of mastery. So the great thing is that I love about this most of all is the wheel doesn't have to be reinvented. So I've got a worksheet that we're going to send out that's in a PDF format. If you want it, all you need to do is type knowledge in the comment section. And if you would be so kind and to type in, if you're watching this live or if you're watching it as a replay, I'd love you for it. So with that, there's a couple of things that I have seen in my own life and that I see with my friends, I see with people that are in business and see with people that I'm coaching. And I know anyone who's in the coaching area would agree that when you're sitting down, you're working with someone or you're just living life trying to help someone, one of the biggest frustrations that I find is sometimes people don't know what they want. And really and truly inside, they do know what they want. But at that moment, a lot of times it's hard to pinpoint it. They're not really able to clearly define exactly what they want. And then another thing that I see with people, and this can be very frustrating, is sometimes people don't even know that they don't even know. And that's another doozy to try to handle there as a coach. And, because a lot of times when people are in that state, they're pretty charged because they don't even know that they don't know and they think they know. And so, trying to wade through all that can be quite frustrating, but we do have questions to help a person get to the very thing when it comes to having that ability to know what is it they really want. And then if there's a level of incompetence there, then that's another obstacle that we run into when we're trying to help a person get what they want and really open up that ability to know, because it is your natural ability to know. When you are able to know something, have you ever noticed how stable you feel? Have you ever noticed how when you're trying to figure out something or maybe solve a problem or connect the dots, maybe you've had half the dots connected, but you don't have the rest of them, so you're stopped, you feel kind of not unsure, but once you are able to connect the dots and the light bulbs go off and you have that level of certainty, how it feels. That stability really is there on your ability to know, to figure things out, to be able to handle whatever's there. You also feel pretty expanded typically when you get to that point. So it is your natural ability to know. Every person that's listening to this, I need you to know that that is your natural ability, your natural state. Now you may be saying, yeah, right. I don't have that ability. I've never had that ability. That's okay. Let me tell you what the main biggest thing that will affect a person's ability to know. And what we have found is school. And when I sit down with someone, they normally have filled out a personal zones profile. And some of you are familiar with this, some of you are not. But basically, there's a column on that profile that's called the ability to know. And there are certain questions they have to answer. And that will give them a score on showing whether or not they're failing at that ability, or whether that ability is kind of so-so, or whether or not they're really winning with it. And you will not believe it, maybe you will, but 98% of the people, 95 to 98% of the people that I've sat down with, and I've sat down with them with a lot, like hundreds of people since 2004, but most of the people are very, very low in this column, more so than any other column on that particular graph. And so after all that years and years and years and years of research, school has been the biggest area that affects that. And the reason why is because if you think about all the subjects that a person studies in school, they may know a lot of different subjects, but none of those subjects are really taken to mastery. So a person ends up knowing a little bit about a lot of different subjects, but as well as I know, unless you take something to mastery, as you're going through the learning process, you can get stalled out, you can get stopped, you can get immobile, you can't go forward. And then being able to articulate exactly what you know to others and teach them as well is a total different level, but someone at mastery could do that. So school, the biggest thing, just because of the system that is in place in most schools around the world, if you will. And once a person starts to understand some of the profound effects, that the negative effects that occurred in school had on them, then their ability to know starts to move forward pretty rapidly. It jumps. And a lot of times a person will have a wrong answer on why they didn't comprehend something, and maybe walk away feeling really dumb, really stupid, and from that moment on really have difficulties in learning. But once that is cleaned up and the person is able to own what they know, then man, their results in life really, really start to change. So one of the, there was one other point I had. One of the ways that you really know if you know something, and I know this happened to me when I was in corporate, I finally made it to the top of my game in the insurance industry. I was an account manager. I was handling accounts in 3 different states. And one of the things that I had to confront and handle was as I would go out and meet with CEOs or the decision makers, whatever, they were always talking about what college they went to. And they would ask me, well, where did you graduate from? And I didn't go to college. I mean, I worked my way to that position from doing various positions and proving myself that I could do it. And so that was a hurdle for me to not feel less than when I would say, well, I don't have a degree. I didn't go to college. I mean, I have like 30 hours, but still they wanted to know where I got my degree. But what ended up happening was one day, it was really funny because one of the CEOs or decision makers of this particular company just looked at me and he told the people that we were with, he said, she doesn't have a degree, but she really knows her insurance. So, but the way you know if you know something is, can you take that knowledge, apply it, and do it? And so it doesn't matter, whether or not you did well on a test or you didn't do well on a test, is can you take what you know and apply it and get a great result? And that's how you know if you know something. So just to recap all this, knowledge is really the conduit, if you will, because connected to your power, because what you know and then taking what you know and using it really sets you up and positions you in the game that you want to play. So if you can take your knowledge, apply it, and get a great result, man, it's really, really that simple. And if you don't know, here's the recipe. Just find out the thing that you don't know, take your next step, apply it, and then you can find out the next piece that you don't know. And each time you find out all those pieces and handle that ignorance on it and find out how to do it, then you're going to feel so expanded at the end of it. So again, for those of you who want the worksheet, just type in knowledge in the comment section and we will give you access. Thank you so much and have a great afternoon or evening or morning wherever you